Today's purpose is it's a 12 days crash course on UGC NET. Obviously, the entire syllabus, it's a crash course, okay? So I will cover all the topics that is there in the syllabus. Again, if you have any doubts at the end, I have given my number. You can personally contact me or message me. There's no problem. I can give answers to your questions. So before starting about teaching aptitude, have you seen the syllabus?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, see, there are 10 units. So today, in the first 2 hours, we are going to complete these two. Teaching, concept, objectives, level of teaching, characteristics and basic requirements of all the levels of teaching. Followed by, we will be completing learners' characteristics, characteristics of adolescents, adult learners, and what are the features that we are going to study, these. And we will be discussing something about the individual differences also. Followed by, these are the, again, different parts of teaching aptitude. So today, in the entire day, we will be covering till this much, ICT based. Next topic is about research aptitude, comprehension, communication, mathematical reasoning, and aptitude both. You have reasoning as well as maths here, quants here. Logical reasoning, data interpretation, ICT, people development and environment, higher education system. Okay, before proceeding further, broadly, you people are from which background? Like all are from commerce, management, and PMI, computer science, or apart from this, you people are from some different background? I need to know this. It's very important for me.
Yes, ma'am. Media, animation.
Computer science.
No, I said apart from computer science, okay, we have someone from fine arts.
Animation, ma'am.
Okay,
Animation,
animation,
digital filmmaking.
Any other?
Ma'am, myself Jaydeep Bhattacharya from economics.
From economics, okay. Then let's leave, again, I would separate economics also. Economics is also not counted because why am I taking these subjects? Commerce, management, economics, computer science. Because we had some maths, right? We have practice in the mathematical parts. But about journalism, I have no idea. About fine arts, they don't have any particular touch. So again, I have to go to that level. Again, I have to go to the advanced level because paper 1, it consists of everything. Okay. So broadly, 4 to 5 disciplines, right? Okay, Akhil, I got your discipline. Good. So let's start away without wasting any more time. People are joining actually. That is the reason I'm allowing everyone. So let's start with teaching aptitude. Now, what exactly teaching means, or what is the responsibility of the teachers? What is the responsibility of the teachers? Teachers, obviously, they have the responsibility of overall development of students, right? And what they are preparing civilized citizens of tomorrow. There was, before starting into what exactly teaching aptitude is all about and what is there in their syllabus, I would like to quote someone, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He had said something about teaching profession. He had said, teaching is a noble profession that shapes the character, caliber, and future of an individual. If people remember me as a good teacher, that will be the biggest honor to me. And even he had fulfilled that, right? He was teaching and the way he went away. We all know that. So he is the greatest example or one of the good examples of a teacher. Okay, we should be like him. So let's jump. What is teaching? Normally what happens, we get confused with various other terminologies like your instructions, okay, like your conditioning, conditioning, training, and indoctrination. Okay, conditioning, we management and commerce students, we know, right? But what about others? Do you know really what does conditioning mean? Any idea? Any example of conditioning? Anything that is coming into your mind, no issues. So it's going to be an interactive one. Okay, it's not that only I'll talk. Rest, I have around 73 participants, 72 participants. Please try to interact with me. Okay, so fine. Let me answer. Slowly you will grab up. Teaching is one of the instruments of education, and obviously it is a very special thing because we are imparting both understanding and skill. Yeah, Abhik, I got your answer. Again, what is the main function of teaching? Is to make learning effective. Okay, so we can say the meaning of teaching is to instruct someone or impart knowledge regarding a subject or a skill. Okay, simple. You can say, if someone asks you, what does teaching mean? Simple, we can say we are trying to impart certain skill, or we are trying to boost or induce certain understanding factor within a particular person. So the learning process would get completed as a result of teaching. Okay, once you get the teaching, now the very basic example right from our childhood we are hearing about the cycle example, right? In management and commerce books you have maximum this example. What happens when a kid tries to learn how to ride a cycle? What happens? His father or mother or someone else who is trying to help him to learn that, they are giving a teaching process. This is how you are going to ride the bicycle. This is how you are going to like put the brakes, right? So due for process of time, it becomes a relatively permanent change in his behavior. So when there is a particular change in his behavior, only then we can say teaching and learning is completed. So you can say teaching and learning are very closely related to each other. Any doubts in the introduction part? Basically, what is teaching? Any doubts? So let us try to understand the difference between teaching versus conditioning versus training and versus instruction and versus indoctrination. Okay, these are very important, and normally students get confused in this. So conditioning, as Avik said, it is simulation based. Like there was an experiment. Okay, just a second. I think many people have. Please try to close your videos. Okay, please, all of you. We will be showing it, like we will be seeing each other at the end of the session. Mahesh, please, I would request you to close the video, or else I will do it from my end. But it's a request from my end to please check upon that. Okay. So in the commerce and management classes, we know we have learned about an conditioning example. The example was from Ivan Pavlov. Anyone can give me the example if you remember actually the example of Ivan Pavlov. Any answers from your side? No answers? Okay. Ivan Pavlov, he actually went for an experiment with dog and meat. I won't say the technical terms because there are people who are from other disciplines. What he said in the first day, he went with a meat. Okay, he went with a plate of meat in his hand and stood in front of his dog. Seeing the meat, the dog started to salivate. Okay. Then next day, what he did, he took a bell, ghanti jo bolte hain, bell, and he stood in front of the dog. So what happened? Seeing the bell, why would the dog respond, right? So it didn't respond. Next day, what he did, bell, first he took the bell, first he rung the bell, then he showed the plate of meat. Then what happened? Seeing the meat, the dog started to salivate. So this continued for many days. Okay, this continued for many days. As a result, what was the final result? final result was, let's say after 21 days, what happened? The moment the bell was rung, the dog started to salivate, because now he is conditioned. Now he knows that soon after the bell has been rung, obviously the meat is going to come. The dog, this has been tuned now. So that is why, or you can say the dog has been conditioned in such a way. Okay. So this was all about your conditioning. So we cannot confuse teaching with that of conditioning. Okay. Fine. From now on, I would be calling the name of the person, and I would obviously think that you are going to respond me. Okay. Teaching is different from conditioning, as it aims to develop intellect and has broader scope with the vast curriculum. While on the other hand, conditioning is the modification of behavior and learning habits. Okay, so this happened, right? There was a modification in the behavior and the learning habits. What happens in conditioning? The curriculum is fixed. At a fixed particular time, Ivan Pavlov was bringing a plate of meat and he was ringing the bell. So it was repeatedly done. First he rang the bell, then he got a plate of meat. So this was conditionally done. This was repeatedly done. As a result, what happened? His behavior changed. There was a modification of his behavior. Okay, so repetition of behavior is done in case of conditioning. Now let's go for training. How teaching is different from training? Very important, because normally people get confused, right? Teaching is basically theoretical. Now what am I doing? It's theoretical, right? I'm just trying to brief you what exactly is there in the syllabus. While classroom learning, and it usually refers to classroom learning. Okay. But what is the case of training? Training is practical oriented. Okay, practically, because there are certain workshops, seminars, role plays, simulations, and other such exercises that are conducted during this training process. And what is important here? Skill development is very important in the aspect of training process. Next, instruction. Normally students think that teaching means giving instruction. Am I giving instruction to you right now? No, I'm not giving instruction. Instruction means what? It is the act of telling the learner what to do and what not to do. Okay, this much you have to do, this much you shouldn't do, to impart knowledge of specific subjects. But while what teaching means trying to develop the potential of an individual. Very, very important. The most confusing among all the above is indoctrination. Now, what does indoctrination mean? Indoctrination says there is only one solution to the problem. Whereas teaching says that there are different solutions to different problem. There are different solutions to the same problem. Okay, so these are the four different concepts. Normally we get confused with this conditioning, training, instruction, and indoctrination. Okay, before proceeding further, I would like to answer, does anyone has any doubt in this? Tanvir, you have written about CS or computer science. Okay, any doubts in this particular portion that we completed right now? What is the difference of teaching between conditioning, training, instruction, and indoctrination? Abhishek, do you have any doubt? Okay, Shweta, Vivek, please try to reply me. Like it's, I'm thinking that I'm teaching to no one. Okay, good. Fine. Let's move to the next category or next slide. Meaning of teaching, or you can say the definition of teaching. We understood, okay, we understood what is the background of teaching, and we understood the different concepts apart from teaching. We should not get confused. Kandarpa, yeah, I would not be sharing any handouts. I would be sharing the PPTs, obviously, the PDFs, okay? And it's a recorded version, so maybe Rakesh sir is going to share it with you. So do not worry, but please try to participate with me during the entire process, okay? Theory class, please try to participate. Meaning of teaching, as I said, teaching is a process in which one individual teaches or instructs another individual. Yes, what am I doing right now? I am trying to teach. I am an individual and you people are on the other side. So one individual teaches or instruct another individual or individuals. So basically it is known as the act of imparting instructions to the learners. Okay, the process, the act, how we are going to impart instructions to the learners in the classroom situation, obviously. Now there are certain one definition which was given by DV. DV says it considers as a manipulation of the situation. Obviously, teaching. Now in the classroom context, what happens? We try to manipulate depending upon my student's strength, okay? Depending upon my student's capacity to learn from me, or the grasping power of my student. I try to manipulate it. Where the learner will acquire skills and insight with his own initiation. Okay. Now there are certain other definitions which was given by H.C. Morrison. H.C. Morrison said, teaching is intimate contact between the more mature person and the less mature person. Both are matured enough. Morrison said both are matured enough, but what happens? The person who is going to give you the teaching, he knows bit more, right? And the person who is going to grasp the teaching, he is a less mature one. Okay, so that is why he said teaching is a process or intimate contact between the more mature personality and a less mature personality. Another definition that was given by Jackson, teaching is a face-to-face encounters or face-to-face encounters between two or more persons. Okay, it cannot be, I cannot just teach anyone. There has to be two people or more than two people, and among the two or between the two, one has to be a teacher who tries to implement certain changes in the other participants. Okay, so teaching is a face-to-face encounter or teaching is face-to-face encounters between two or more persons, one of whom intends to effect certain changes in the other participants. So one has to be necessarily a teacher and the others should be students, or else teaching process won't be completed. Clear about this slide? Please let me know so that we can proceed further.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now this is the voice that I needed. Okay, please try to be interactive. You people are also teachers somewhere. You know how it would be boring if you don't talk with me, with the teacher. Okay. Before there is a question that raised in my mind. What are the three qualities needed for a teacher, or teaching needs three qualities? What can be probably the three qualities? Anyone can answer. What can be probable, what would be the three qualities? All of us are teaching somewhere, right? Teaching needs three qualities. So what are the three qualities? Anyone? Anything that is coming into your mind? Three qualities that are required for teaching process. What would be the first one? Without that, we cannot teach anywhere.
Planning.
Planning. Okay.
Communication, good communication skill.
Okay. Good.
Ability to deliver knowledge.
Okay. Okay. In the chat box, I got my answer. Two answers I got.
Knowledge of the subject.
One is knowledge. Another is communication skills. Another is aptitude. Okay. These are the three things which are required. Okay. So basically 3 qualities which are needed. Yes, Abhishek, ability of express efficiently, that comes under your aptitude part. Good. Okay. Knowledge, patience, aptitude. Aptitude is correct. Knowledge is correct. Everything else comes, okay, in your aptitude. So what are the 3 qualities that are required? Knowledge, communication skills, and aptitude. Very good. So let's move to the next slide. Okay, please, please check your backgrounds because I am getting disturbed here. Okay. Objectives of teaching. What I did, the entire objectives, I divided into 4 categories. Okay, 4 categories. Other than that, if I'm missing anything, please let me know. According to me, or according to different research that I did, some books had given you around 6 objectives. Some books have given you 2 objectives. So taking overall, I came up with 4 broad objectives of teaching, which are going to definitely come out with the possible learning outcomes that we want. First is acquisition of knowledge. Acquisition of knowledge means what? Acquisition means what? What does this term acquisition mean? Anyone? Acquisition. Acquiring, yes. So first is acquiring of knowledge from the teacher to the students, to the learners. Yes. Next is development of understanding. Right from starting, I am saying that 2 things are very important. One is we need to boost the understanding and the skill. We need to develop the skill of the learners. So second one would be understanding. Third is conceptual, intellectual, and subject specific skills has to be developed. Very, very important. And last, values. Okay, without any proper value, we cannot complete the teaching process. Okay, in some other books, they have written morals, punctuality, discipline in students. You can say to prepare students for better citizens in the future, that is coming under your values. Next, to develop a sense of brotherhood, teamwork, leadership, everything is coming again under your values. To mold and shape learners, that is coming here. So there are different sub objectives. So the broad 4 objectives are acquiring knowledge, developing the understanding part of the students. Yes, learners' mental ability, correct, that is coming under your 3rd point. Development of conceptual, intellectual, and subject specific skills. And the 4th is development of values. Clear, all of you? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's move to the next slide. Why am I asking? Because if you have any doubts in this slide, you can straight away ask me here. Nature and characteristic of teaching. Very, very important. Now, teaching is a social and cultural process. Yes, why we can say it is a social process? Because we have learned from the society and we are giving it back to the society, right? See, teaching is undertaken for society and by society. Or you can say we, the teachers, have learned from society when we were students, and we are still learning, and we are giving it back to our students. Teaching is giving information. Second nature or characteristic of teaching is giving information. Now, the best teachers or the good teachers are those people who do not compete with their students. You would find many a times there are many teachers who would try to compete with their students. They cannot stand the fact that the students have crossed them. Certain type of ego or certain type of negative feeling comes within their mind. That should not happen, and they try to limit the scope of information that they have. That is not the proper way how a teacher should react. Okay, so teaching is giving information. Teaching deals with, or it tells students about the things they have to know, and students which the students themselves cannot find out. Other than that, if you have something else extra also, you give it, no problem. Yeah, next is Communication of knowledge is an essential part of teaching. Very important, because until and unless we do not communicate, no such teaching process can be completed. It's an interactive process. Okay. Now see, in the first slide, what happened? Some people did not, or many of you did not interact with me. It was a bit of dull. I thought that, okay, I'm just coming here to just say something and I'm going away. No, it has to be an interactive process. Okay, between the students and the persons who are teaching. So that what happens, it gives a boost to the teacher as well as it acts as a guidance, progress and development of students also. And teaching is a very, very skilled occupation. Those people who think that it is not a noble occupation, I'm sorry, it's a very skilled occupation. It's not a joke to teach. Okay. Every successful teacher is expected to know the general methods of teaching learning situations. Very important. If we do not know this, then we cannot land somewhere. Okay. My next question is, wait, let me write the question. Is teaching an art or science? Is teaching an art or science? Okay. Okay, as per UGC NET, okay, some people gave art, some people gave both. UGC NET options I'm giving yes, no, both. Just think from both the angles and then answer. Yeah, maximum of you are giving both.
Both.
Yes. Why both? Why teaching is a science? Why teaching? Let's just answer the first question.
Both.
Yeah, it's both. But my answer now, your students will ask you, madam, if you are saying that is, if teaching is both, like both art and science, then please explain. So I would say, just a minute. Teaching is a science. Why? Because it is systematic in nature. Okay, systematic I can say, and there is a logical planned activity. Someone had said me that obviously planning needs to be done. Without any planning, you cannot take random classes, right? The aim of teaching is to obviously give shape of to the learners. That is the aim of teaching. So the two broad, you can say, some characteristics of science are: it is systematic, it is logical, planned activity. There are certain scientific strategies which we need to follow. Okay, whenever we are appointed somewhere, the concerned organization, just remember your starting days. What they gave you certain training. They gave you the different ways how you are going to deal with your students. So certain scientific strategies are there, practices are there. Yeah, logical reasoning is also there. Next, techniques. We improve, we utilize certain techniques to teach. So that is why I can say, and the most important thing is we experiment with the minds of our students, right? We try different ways to find out the answers from our students. Yes, Ashish has written, because with planned input, we get desired output teaching. Yes, that comes under your planning. Okay, so these are my points why we can say teaching is a science. Yeah, Bhavna, it's application oriented. I can take this point. Now, why teaching is known as an art? Now give me point for art. Why it is known as an art? Most important thing, creativity. Okay, don't you think teacher uses high zone of or high level of creativeness, innovativeness? They use it, right? Because they find out what suits a student, what does not suit a student. Accordingly, teachers have to adjust their strategies. So the most important thing of art is creativity. Innovativeness is obviously there. Flexibility. Flexibility is a characteristic of art. Okay, and it is not a characteristic of science. Yeah, presentation, generalization. Yes, good points, Bhavna. Different ways to different students. Yeah, that I said. Creativity, flexibility. Okay, again here your personality comes. So all these determine that why teaching is an art. I hope you are clear of this answer. Teaching is an art as well as a science. Or any doubt? Okay. My next question is teaching a craft? Is teaching a craft? Craft means this art and craft class. I'm talking about that craft. Okay. Yes, I got answer that yes, it is a craft from Shalu. It's a craft, definitely. Why? Because it requires skills or a set of skills that have been acquired through experience. Okay, that have been acquired through experience. What we do, we try to mold, we try to come up with different shapes, right? So that is why we can say teaching is a craft. Next question is teaching a moral activity? Is teaching a moral activity? Do you really think that it's moral in nature or it's not? Yeah, Tushar. Why it's a moral activity? Moral, okay, value, yes, because one of the best objectives, or one of the not best, one of the objectives of teaching is development of values. So values automatically comes for your moral. So purpose of education or teaching is all round development of students. We should not just focus on the prescribed syllabus while ignoring the moral development of students. We cannot ignore that. Yes, the answer is yes, and reason is because one objective is development of values. Okay, so that comes to another one question. Is teaching dynamic or static? Is teaching dynamic or static? Okay, Apurva, Ashrita, Ashita. Okay, everyone is giving dynamic, no one is giving me static. Yes, definitely it is dynamic. Why? Because we are trying to experiment with the minds of the students. We are using different ways, different strategies, how to teach, so that my student would be able to understand whatever I'm trying to teach. Okay, so teaching is both dynamic and flexible. Is teaching a complex activity? Is teaching a complex activity? Next question. Okay, Vivek, any doubt? You raised your hand, Vivek. Any doubt? Okay. Yes, it is a complex activity. Why? Why would you say it's a complex activity? Because it is a science. It is an art. It is a craft. Everything is there. So due to multiple natures of teaching, yes, strategic planning, yes. So due to multiple aspects of the nature of teaching, you can say it is a very complex activity, because diverse set of skills are very much required for a teacher to teach their students. Okay. Next point or next question would be, is teaching diverse in nature? Is teaching or nature of teaching diverse in nature? Diverse, like expand. Okay, in nature? Yes, 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 I'm getting answers. Yeah, why? What would be the obvious reason for that? Diverse in the context of teaching means, or would mean, showing a great deal of variety, right? Great deal of variety. So obviously it comes under your bit that it is diverse in nature. Okay. Is teaching continuous? Is teaching continuous? A continuous process? Let me take it this way. Continuous process? Yes. Why? Lifelong we are. Lifelong, it's a learning process. Okay. We are learning from something. We are imparting the lessons learned to our students. It's a lifelong process. Yes, Vivek, Correct. It never stops. Correct. Avinash. Correct. Okay, let me write the reason. Lifelong process. Okay. Next would be, is it formal or informal in nature? Very diplomatic question. Okay. Is teaching formal or informal? Is teaching formal or informal? Again, options, yes, no, both. There is no fourth option here. Obviously, in the classroom setup, when the teacher is saying something, it is formal. After class, yes, Anamika, let me copy your reason. After class, it can be formal. Okay, or after the session, it can be formal. Okay. This was the answer that was given by Anamika. Okay. Yes, formal, Namit gave formal as in student-teacher relationship, and informal could be out of that relation. So basically we can say during the teaching process, it should be formal. And once the teaching, formal teaching is over, because we need to understand my student has taught, has understood that thing or not. So it is informal in nature. That touch has to be there. Okay. And teaching is obviously interactive in nature between the teacher and the learners. There has to be flow of knowledge from both the sides. If there is no flow of knowledge from both the sides, then we cannot say the teaching process is successful. Okay, so let me quote. Just a minute. Let me quote a famous person. Every one of you know. A teacher is like a small ship. Is like a small ship sailing from the land of ignorant people to the land of knowledgeable people, right? Is it correct or not? Knowledgeable people. So who had given this? It was given by Socrates. Okay, why am I giving you certain quotes? You know, because in teaching aptitude or any other net exam, what they give you certain quotes, and they ask you who has given it. Okay, so the important quotes related to certain known people in teaching aptitude, which maximum of them, or in different times the question has come, I'm giving you such quotes only. Yes, to make students comfortable with the subject, that's correct. So I hope this particular slide is clear from all doubts of my students. Should I proceed further?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So no doubts till now?
No doubt.
Okay. Let's move to the next part. Someone is drawing from the background. Can you please stop? This is not a place to experiment. I cannot clear this from my end. Just a minute, let me check. Yeah, done. Levels of teaching. What are the different levels of teaching? We do not know. See, this is something which I came to know after I started, or once I cracked my net. Before that also I didn't know. Okay, this is something very like out of our box. Different levels of teaching. There are 3 levels of teaching. And what is the overall objective of teaching? Overall objective of teaching obviously is to build overall personality of the learners. And where it revolves, or it evolves just around the development of learners' capability, thinking, and change in the behavior of students. Okay, so let's quickly jump into the different levels of teaching. Very, very important. So let's start from the first level. I think someone is tired. Memory level of teaching. Okay, very interesting. This is not at all boring. The slide may seem that much things are there, but not at all boring. Memory level. Now, whenever, see, I'm trying to give you certain teaching here. So what are you trying to do? You are trying to keep everything in your memory, right? First is memory. You are trying to understand what the subject is all about, what madam is trying to say. Let me grab something in my memory. Okay, so it's all about cramming. The keyword is cramming. Memory level teaching emphasize on presentation of facts and information. Very important. And it's all about cramming. Okay, how fast we can get the facts. I'm not getting it. So cramming, that keyword is cramming. Knowledge or information is gained by the learner through the memorization process. Right from your childhood. Did you know exactly how the apple looked like? Anyone? No. So what you did, your mom or your teacher, they asked you to learn. See, this is the color of apple. This is how shape of apple. And this is what you say, A for apple. So how we started? We started with the memorization part. We didn't understand it at the first context. Okay. So the first point or the first level of teaching is obviously memorization. It is the initial level stage of teaching, first stage. Without any memory, without any memorization, we cannot successfully say that the teaching process has been completed, and induces the habit of rote learning. Rote matlab रट के जो जाता है ना हम लोग एग्जाम में, rote learning, mugging up the facts and subject matters, everything. It provides students the ability to retain and reproduce the learned subject. Okay, there are certain concepts, there are certain facts. Like, so if I'll ask you, please give me the expansion of a plus b the whole square. Yeah, Namit, mugging. A plus b the whole square. If I'll ask you, have you seen? Yeah, just be true to yourself and let me know. Have you understood the entire expansion of the equation, or you have mugged up? What would be your answer?
Earlier mugged up.
Yes,
Now
we
not.
have mugged up. And what happened right now? When I asked you a question, you went for finding out that retention factor in your memory, and you try to reproduce it here right now. Okay, so this is what memory level of teaching deals with. At this level, the students learn to identify, recall, or remember the objects, events, ideas, and retain them in the memory. Okay, the teacher plays here a very, very dominating and authoritarian role. Why? Because the teacher has to make you people learn something, mug something. So it is basically dominating and authoritarian in authority. You have to learn it. You cannot escape without learning this. The evaluation system mainly includes oral, written, and essay type examination, as well as organized, and is very simple in nature. Why? Because our purpose is rote learning. So the key is rote. Why am I focusing on this? Because in one particular year, they had given the keywords of all the levels of teaching. List 1, 2 columns. List 1, they had given the keywords. List 2, they have written memory, understanding, and reflective. So we need to match, and there were different options. So this is how they gave the question. In case of memory level teaching, the role of the teacher is very prominent, or you can say primary and active, because he or she is the major factor who is going to give you the correct thing, right? A kid, suppose you would send, or we would have gone in a school where A for apple, they are showing something else. A not for apple, but they are showing something else. Obviously not from A, let's say ball. So what would have happened? We would have learned in that way, gone, like everything spoiled. And student is secondary and passive. Okay, it is not mandatory. So they are secondary and passive in nature. They are supposed to learn that thing. Memory level teaching does not improve intelligence. It does not improve any intelligence and increase students' capability. Why? Because there is no thought process, right? They just need to learn. So what is the main important points here? First is cramming. Second is rote learning. And third important thing is primary and active role of the teacher. And students' role is secondary and passive. Clear?
Yes,
All of
ma'am.
you? Okay. Okay, essay type, Abhinash. Suppose I'll give you to write about something about globalization. Okay, suppose I'll ask everyone, just write 5 lines about globalization right now within 1-2 minutes. So you don't have time to go for Google and everything. Whatever you have it in your mind, you would just write it. So that is why we can say essay type evaluation system is a part of MLT, because initial context about the topic that is given to you, that comes from your memory only. Okay, Abhinash, let me know if you're clear or not. If you have any doubt also, let me know. Classification of memory. This classification of memory as per MLT was given by a person, obviously a psychologist, or what he was, we do not know. The person's name was Herbart. Okay, Herbart memory level of teaching. So he gave 9 classification of memories. Now what are the 9 classification of memory? First is immediate memory. When a recall is immediate, what happened right now? Someone answered me a plus b the whole square. Immediately the memory came and he answered me. Permanent memory, recalling it for a longer period of time, like we are not going to forget it in spite of anything that happens. A for apple example can be permanent memory. Personal memory, when you are recalling the past experience, you will simultaneously recall your personal past experience also. Impersonal memory, you are recalling from books or any companion, you're discussing with someone and you're recalling something. What is active memory? Making effort to recall all your past experiences, recalling answers in examinations. Best thing, active memory. Okay, vomiting in the exam, immediately on the spot. Passive memory, we are recalling any past experience without any effort. What is mechanical memory or physical memory? Body becoming habitual of doing any task repeatedly. We get down off our bed, straight away go to the washroom. Even with the closed eyes also, we can, like our mind works that we have to go to the washroom, right? So that's an example of mechanical or physical memory. Rote memory, we are just going to mug it up, cramming facts without any understanding. Logical memory, to learn something by using intellect, and it's recalling when needed. Okay, so these are the classification of memory as per, or which is coming under your MLT, and it was given by Herbart. Okay, nine I think, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, yeah, 9 types of classification of memory. Any doubts?
Now, please provide example of passive memory.
Passive memory, recall past experience without any effort. That is purely personal, I think. Suppose I would suggest you to see a movie Chalk and Duster. Please, all of you, go and see it tonight. Once our classes are over, just see Chalk and Duster. So once I was seeing that movie, immediately all my past experiences of my teacher, or of me being a teacher, or of my first class as a teacher, it came in a flash of mind without any effort. Okay, so that is an example of passive memory. Okay, Vaishali, it can be personal, it can be, it cannot be personal is you are recalling the past experience, but their personal touch has to be there. Passive memory, if something happened with your colleague for a good type of, or for something that he or she has done in her class, so that can come under your passive memory. Both think that, both focus that we are recalling the past experience. One, you are only recalling your personal past experience, that is coming under your personal memory. And passive memory, it can be personal, it may not be, may or may not be personal in nature. Okay, but you are recalling any past experience without any effort. Suppose I am recalling my dad was a professor, is a professor. Now, if I am recalling any experience of my dad in his class, so it becomes a passive memory. Okay, because I am recalling a past experience without any effort. But at the same case, if I am recalling simultaneously of my dad as well as of mine, then it will come under your personal past experience. Okay, clear, Vaishali? Okay, good.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Can I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's move to the next slide. For that, it'll be clear. So memory over. Next level of teaching. Yeah, thank you, Vikrant. Understanding level of teaching. Next, very important level of teaching is understanding. Now we are going to understand, thoughtful. And who gave this? Who was the person who gave the concepts about understanding level? His name is Morrison. Okay, Morrison. Morrison had given the concept of memory level of teaching. Now what he said, memory level of teaching is fundamental, prerequisite. Without memory level of teaching, you cannot go for understanding level of teaching. Okay, as it talks about the generalization of principles, theory, and other key important facts. All general concepts, theories now is being given to you. The concepts, the thought process, everything is given to you through or in the understanding level. So this helps to build the thinking level of students. The think tank of students would grow up. And as a result, the acquired knowledge that they have taken during this process, they can go for use of that. Yes, Vikrant, it's correct, on the basis of previously known facts and subjects. The teacher explains the student about the relationship between principles and facts, and teaches them how these principles can be applied. So obviously they go for making you understand about the different relationships between principles and facts, as well as they will teach you how these principles can be applied also in the general concept, not particular. Generalization only we are talking about. So it focuses on mastery of the subject, obviously. What is the skill that is being developed in this case? Memory plus insight. Okay, insight. You can have the ability to think what they have taught you or what is there. Suppose the teacher gives you an every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This was a concept which was given by Newton, third law of Newton. So when our teacher taught us this thing, they gave us certain points attached to that. They gave us the application oriented or examples of this, and we cannot forget. Okay, this way. This is an example of understanding level of teaching. The evaluation system of this level of teaching is mainly objective type questions. Okay, objective type questions and essays. And students and teachers both play an active role in the understanding level of teaching. Very, very important. So normally for the middle and the higher classes students, we go for your understanding level of teaching. It is very basically teacher centered or subject centered. Who is at the primary position? Both student and teacher, but more is obviously both teacher and learner. You cannot compare. Okay, because thoughtful thing is coming here. Correct? Mastery of the subject is very much required in case of understanding level of teaching. So see, Morrison, he had given, right? So he had divided the understanding level of teaching into 5 steps. Now what are the 5 steps? One is exploration. First step is exploration. The teacher needs to explore what the student has. Like I asked you a question, from what backgrounds are you from? What are the different backgrounds? Had it been something related to pure arts like science, Hindi? Because I have taught students, I know the different levels at which we can teach. They are sharp at some other units, which normal people like computer science, management, commerce are not. So I need to understand with whom am I dealing? What is their previous knowledge? What is the content? How am I going to present it? So exploration, all of us do it at the first class. The introduction class is not just an introduction class. We try to understand their background, everything. Next is presentation. How the content is presented, how it is broken into different parts, fragmented into different parts, diagonized, and recapitulated till the students understand. They should understand it. So in such a way, the presentation has to be there. Next is assimilation. Assimilation means we are assimilating everything. We are generalizing everything because we are talking about understanding level of teaching. We are dealing with the individual activities now. Okay, we are working in different labs and libraries. We are trying to test the content that a teacher has given us. Okay, next is organization. How? Because now, until and unless we do not allow the students to represent what they have understood, this is not successful. So organization. And the last is recitation. People presents the content orally. Okay, when I was taking I had done my postgraduate diploma in Manipal Banking Institute of Relation, Manipal School of Banking in Bangalore. So there I had a teacher. I still do not remember his name, but after each class, he was an accounts teacher. After each class, 10 minutes he used to give. 1 hour class, 50 minutes he used to teach. 10 minutes he will randomly ask what has been taught in today's class. And he will make a stand. First class, we all were unsound. We didn't know that it was his way of teaching. So this process happened. And the first 5 minutes also he will ask. So why it is done? So that the teacher can understand whether the student has genuinely understood what have I taught or not. Until and unless he doesn't understand, he doesn't grab that the student has learned what I have shared, then it is not a successful process. So Morrison had given 5 levels of teaching as per understanding level of teaching: exploration, presentation, assimilation, organization, recitation. Any doubts or any questions? So that we can proceed to the next one. No doubts? Okay. The last level, which was given by Hunt, okay, H-U-N-T. You can very well remember the name of the person Hunt, because now we are going for reflective. Whatever we have learned, now what am I doing with you? I try to give you certain, I went for a memory level of teaching. I am going for an understanding level of teaching. In your UGC NET exam, what will you do? You will start hunting. Your mind will run, right? So that is, and who gave this context? Hunt. Okay. See, reflecting on something means giving careful thought to something over a period of time. When we are going for giving certain exams, what we are trying to, we are hunting in our mind. Where have I studied this subject? Where have I taught that subject to my students? We just go for deeply understanding about something. Okay, so this reflective level of teaching talks about both understanding and memory level teaching. Okay, so what is the main objective of this level of teaching? Obviously, problem solving, critical and constructive, independent and original thinking. Here at this level, the emphasis is laid on identifying the problem. We need to identify where the problem is. We need to define, and again we need to find a particular solution to it. So now who is at the core? Who is at the core? The core is student, or the active part. Who plays the active part? The student plays the active part. PS plays the primary role, while teacher becomes secondary. No role absolutely, because already the teacher has done his or her part in the memory and the understanding level. Now it depends upon the student, how much he has grabbed. So in reflective level of teaching, Hunt is the main proponent. It includes understanding level of teaching and memory level of teaching. It is problem-centered teaching. Now what the students, what we expect from the students, we expect or we assume that the students are assumed to adopt some sort of research approach to solve the problem. Okay. And in case of reflective level of teaching, we think that the classroom environment is open and independent. These are certain keywords. Okay. Hunt developed the reflective model of teaching, which goes through the various steps, including creating a problematic situation. Purposefully, a problematic situation has been created so that whatever has been taught to the students, they should go for a detailed identification of the problem. They should go for defining it. They should go for formulation and verification of hypothesis. They should understand the different data that is present with them, and they need to test the hypothesis and then come out with a conclusion. And what is the best method to evaluate the learning process? It is obviously essay type. Essay type questions is very important in case of reflective level of teaching. here the teaching is not teacher centered or subject centered. It is purely learner centered. How much the student has grabbed. Okay, it depends upon that. So let me summarize before completing this lesson. Just wait. Let me summarize the entire thing. I would try to go for a reflective level of teaching now with you people. We would be discussing this only, levels of teaching. Okay. Topic is levels of teaching. Okay. So first level was memory. Second was understanding. And the third was reflective, right? Clear? So just quickly summarize. Let's try to summarize. Okay, I can go for basis. I have gone for a basis also. Okay, so my first point under basis would be who gave the concept. Okay, concept was given by. In case of memory, who had given the concept? Anyone?
Herbert.
Yes, Herbert. Herbert, not Abhi. Please kindly check the spelling. Herbert. In understanding, who gave? Morrison.
Morrison.
Yeah. And in reflective, who gave?
Hunt.
Hunt. Yes. Correct. Yeah. Next would be focus or focuses on. Here what they are focusing, cramming of facts, or you can say rote memorization, right? The keyword can be rote memorization. Yes, this will be mastery of subject by developing, or we can say developing understanding, developing the understanding thoughts. We can write it in this way, understanding skill. And in case of reflective, use of such knowledge or use of all skills for solving problems. Can I say like this? I can say, right? Next would be, next point would be obviously thoughtfulness. Okay, next basis would be thoughtfulness. Now, what does thoughtfulness mean? Thoughtless? We are not thinking anything, right? We are just rotting it, cramming it, mugging it up. Here it is thoughtful. Silly, but we can go for it, right? Skills. And the last one is highly thoughtful, because we are hunting. We are deeply entering into our thought process and we are trying to find the answers. Next, testing techniques or testing procedures, you can say. In the first class, in the first memory, what was there? Oral, written, and essay, right? Essay. In the second, we had essay and objective. In the third, what we had? Essay. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Fourth, suitable for. Sorry, spelling mistake. Suitable for. Suitable for whom? For the lower classes. You cannot apply the same for the higher classes, for the higher education students. I cannot apply rote learning for you people. Can I do that? I cannot do that. Right? So middle and higher classes. And these are the higher classes, or let me write higher education. Let's say higher classes. Okay. Next will be role of teacher. What would be the role of teacher? In case of memory?
Prominent.
prominent, or I had used a term.
Authorization.
No. Authoritarian.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Authoritarian or dominant I had written. In case of understanding, it was permissive. Okay. And in case of this one, it's democratic. No more role. Silently आप बैठ जाओ. Next is techniques used. Okay, I had written no techniques. Let's say centered. Okay, centered would be yaha in this particular memory level. What it was? It was teacher and subject centered, right? Both, not learner centered. Okay, here teacher and learner and subject. Okay, in this case it is purely subject centered. Okay, they try to let me cut this. I'll put this as another point. Next would be primary position. Who is at the primary position in case of memory level? Teacher, because whatever the teacher says, that is full and final. In this case, teacher and learner. And in this case, it is only and only learner. Okay. So herewith we completed the first lesson. Any doubts? Any doubts? If Namit, you had asked if we were to classify all three on the basis of static and dynamic. Teaching is a dynamic process. You cannot compare it with dynamic, static. Okay, Namit? Any doubts? Okay, just take 2 minutes break. Bring a cup of coffee or tea so that we can start with the next lesson. Okay? Yeah, Nidhi, the role of teacher in memory level of teaching is authoritarian, dominant, and permissive. Yes. Not permissive. Permissive comes under your understanding level. Okay, good. So I think there are no questions. From this lesson, all clear? All set?
Yes, ma'am.